This video will quickly demonstrate how to use the Descendancy View and Hope Chest to find ancestors who may need ordinances. While I won't demonstrate the interview process, please remember that we never take anyone to the temple without first opening their person page and interviewing them. So even though I will skip that step in the demonstration process, make sure that you remember to do it whenever you find somebody using one of these two methods. If we're going to use the Descendancy View, the idea is to go back to somebody born around 1800 and then to turn around and come back and look at their descendants who are our cousins. It's nice now that the church has increased the number of generations that can be portrayed in the fan chart, and so the default is usually 5, but if you click it up to 7, the outer row for many people will have people that were born in the 1800s. So if I click on somebody that is out here, you can see that he's born in 1810 for me. If you're younger, you may end up having to do this in 2 steps. And so the process that you would go through is you would hover over a person that you want, and you notice when you hover at the base of their name is a fan. You'd click that fan and they would be then placed into the primary spot, and then you could go back and do that once more to find somebody that is actually born in around 1800, a little bit before, a little bit after. And when you hover over them and put them in the middle, then that person would be there. For me, this person is sufficient, born in 1810. And so if I was wanting to see if I had any ancestors of James Washington Wakefield that needed ordinances, I would just change my view at this point, come up, click the arrow beside the fan chart, and come down and click the Descendancy View. When I click the Descendancy View, I get the view that shows me the icons on the right that include data problems, research suggestions. There's none listed here. Data problems would be things like standardizing information, born before a parent is born, or possible duplicates. Research suggestions that are purple would say you don't have any sources, there's possible missing children. Record hints let you know that the computer has found a record that is 97% likely to be a match for your person. And then of course the things that we're looking for are these icons with the temples. You can either have a blue temple that means somebody needs ordinances, but those ordinances have already been requested, so you don't need to pursue that one. Or there can be a green temple or a orange temple. The orange temples mean that they need ordinances, but they need more information before they would be qualified to be taken to the temple. I would remind you that you can come up here to this options tab, and when you click it, it will tell you about each one of the different icons that are over to the right. You can turn some of them off. You'll notice my research suggestions is turned off, and that's the reason we didn't see any. If I click that back on, I'll get some research suggestions. The other thing, though, that I really want to stress is to always turn off these portraits. You will almost never have pictures of these people back in the 1800s, and they just end up taking up space and spreading out this view over here. So with that preamble, I will just say that the last thing that you'd want to do is, a lot of times the initial family view with the person you're pivoting from and their wife and children isn't enough to find somebody that needs ordinances. And so you'll need to change it by clicking the 3 or 4. I just always go ahead and click the 4 generations. And so this means that it's going to portray for me 4 generations down from James Washington Wakefield. As I now look, now that it's populated that, I see that there are more people that have that need ordinances that have been requested already. And then here's a green temple. So simply at this point, all I would do is go, you have to click over on this side. If I click over here, I'll have it show me which ordinances they need. And so this one just needs to have the sealing to parents. But if I click over here, I can go ahead and have the card of information about them open, and I can also see the ordinances that they need, the sealing to parents, sealing to spouse, as well as just a quick summary of the information that I have. And you can see that they were born before 1908, so I'm able to take them to the temple. I've got enough information to take them to the temple. I've got 6 sources. This one's not going to be a lot of work. I'll be able to quickly take them to the temple. What I would do at this point is come down to this person link at the bottom. I would right click on it, and then I would click open link in a new tab. At that point, Clarence Cecil Cousins will have their person page appear here. Somebody's already included a picture of the tombstone here, and then I would quickly give Clarence an interview by looking at his information, which is all pretty complete and formatted correctly. I would notice that I've got 2 wives, but they're different women. Quite obviously, the dates and the names are different, so I'm not troubled with him having 2 wives. I don't have a marriage date for the last one. As I look at the family over here, I do have a problem, and so this is nice to illustrate for you quickly. I've got multiple sets of parents, but they're the same parent, meaning that Lily Bell Knight and Lily Bell Knight, they even have the same number, but one of these children has been attached, Jesse and Clarence, that are, I have Jesse right here and Clarence right there, 1896 and 1901. They've been attached twice. This happens oftentimes, and so all that I end up doing, since I know that this Clarence Cecil Cousins, LVC5, it's the exact same person, all I'm going to do is to remove him by clicking on the little pencil to the right, and then I'm going to remove or replace the relationship. And you'll notice that I can, because I don't want him attached to this partial relationship, I'm just going to go ahead and click I have reviewed, and to remove these parents, and then I'm just going to say duplicate relationship here. Sorry for my typing. And then I'll remove it. Now you'll notice at this point I have Clarence still connected to that other relationship, but not connected to that partial relationship. I didn't do any damage to it because it was just somebody had not known that William was married to Lily, and they had entered the family with Lily only. Now, the other one that we had was Jesse, and I'll just real quickly illustrate that one more time. If I go to Jesse's person page, he'll have 2 parents as well. And you can see right here, again, Lily with no husband had Jesse added, and Jesse is also added up here to Lily with the husband. So we just want to real quickly get rid of that. I'll click the pencil at the side of the name. I'll click remove. I don't want her, Jesse to be attached to this partial relationship. I click that, click remove parents. I type in here duplicate relationship, and then I remove it. And now I've cleaned that up a little bit so that both of these people have not a messed up parental relationship. Clarence was the guy that I was going to go and take to the temple, and so I'll go back to him. I'm not going to do anything else with this. You can see that I've got 6 sources. I've got 3 record hints. By the time I'm done with this interview, I'll have 9 sources attached. I'll probably have this marriage date. I may have some children. They have no children attached, and they have no children attached. Oh, they have 1 child attached, Jean, who's born in 24. I might add some children, but by the time it's all said and done, I'll be able to click on this ordinance, and then I'll be able to request the sealing to parents. And you'll notice that I've got this other Virginia that I can't request because Virginia was born in 1910. So all I'll be requesting is the sealing to parents. And, as long as I've got as much information as I do and it's as accurate as it is, let me just demonstrate the requesting process. I go ahead and click request, and it comes up and says, now you can't do this second one, but you can do the first one. Is that what you want? And I say yes. I request it. Then it gives me these rules. The rules are that the person needs to be a relation to you. They need to be born more than 110 years ago. They can't be Jewish Holocaust victims. They can't be famous people. And if you agree to those relationships, then you go ahead and accept it. At that point, the little temple floats up there. And in my temple tab, I now have at the top of my list is Clarence Cecil Cousins listed, and all I have to do is print it by clicking here and clicking print. So that is one way to find people to take to the temple. And I didn't give an exhaustive interview as an example for you, but maybe showed you a few things that you might not have been aware of. Let's go back now and see how to do an interview or to find somebody using Hope Chest. I'm going to get back to the beginning of my fan chart. I'm still in landscape view, so I'm going to change from landscape to fan chart. And before I do this, I'm going to need to get Hope Chest loaded onto my computer. The way you'll do that is you'll open a new tab on your computer and you'll type in Google Chrome Web Store. And then once you go to Google Chrome Web Store, you want Google Chrome Web Store extensions. And when it comes up, you can search for anything. And so we're just going to put in here Hope Chest. And when we do that, there aren't a lot of Hope Chests that come up, but the one you want is the brown one that looks like this by Eric Vance. And so then you're going to click Add to Chrome. And it'll say, do you want to add this extension? And you say yes. At that point, it's added. You'll notice up here I have it. It's in gray, and that means that it's not functional in this situation. I have to go back into FamilySearch before it will be. So when I come back to FamilySearch and I refresh my page, what you should see is that Hope Chest becomes brown, and that means that it's usable at this point. Now, to use Hope Chest, the beauty of Hope Chest is that I can go farther back. I can go back to 1750 or 1700, and you can see the farther back you go and then turn around, that pyramid coming down from that ancestor is going to be bigger and bigger. And so by going back to 1750, I've made the pyramid of cousins in the late 1800s bigger than it would have been had I turned around at 1800. So let me give you an example of this. I will go to James Kivett here, and James, if I click on him, you'll notice that he was born in 1804, so that's not going back very far. I'm going to go ahead and hover, and at the base of his name, click the fan chart, put James in there, and I think I'm going to go ahead and go back to 1755 to this Peter. And so this is what some of you will need to be doing even to use the Descendancy View, is to do two steps. But I wanted to get somebody born in 1755 to give me a little bit bigger of a swath of cousins to use. So when I hover, I put Peter in the primary position. Now I'm prepared to switch views and use Hope Chest. What I would do at this point is I would come up to the view, click the arrow. Now, if I was doing Descendancy View, I would come down here and click Descendancy View, but to use Hope Chest, you need to be in the Landscape view. So I'm going to click Landscape, and what I've got at this point is Peter Kivett with his wife Sarah Rachel York. His descendants are coming off to the left, and his ancestors are off to the right. This is the kind of format that you want to have on your screen when you're going to use Hope Chest. Then at that point, I'm going to go up and click my Hope Chest. When I click it, it's supposed to work. And this is nice to have this happen in a video, because what it allows me to tell you about is Hope Chest is a little bit finicky sometimes, and whenever you have any kind of problem, always just go and refresh your page. And what you'll find is, for some reason, Hope Chest just got out of sync, and at this point it should work. So I click it, yes. And I could go in and look at the different people that I have in my Hope Chest by clicking here, but to do a search of ancestors, I go ahead and click Search Descendants. Now when you have this come up, you will have a little advertisement that will try to sell you Hope Chest. You can click Just Do Search, and then up will come this screen right here, and at that point you'll click Start Search. because I have the paid version, I could go ahead and click in here and create a new folder. And so if I did that, I could open a folder and then click Start Search. And as it starts to search, well, in fact, let me just show you. It'll come along and you'll see a little yellow box come down. And every time that yellow box goes over it, it's over a given person. It's saying, I'm looking and seeing if there's any kind of ordinances available there. And now it's running off and just scouring my tree all through the different descendants of Peter Kivet. I'm going to go ahead and close that or stop that run because I've already run it. And let me show you what I got. You can leave this running. Sometimes it takes 30 minutes, an hour. It takes quite a while to do a large run. Other times it will end for you in 30 seconds or 5 minutes. And what will happen is when it does end, there's a little box that'll open up and say something along the lines of the search is completed, and then have an OK box for you to click. Once you have had the run going long enough that you think there might be somebody in the Hope Chest, you come up here and click Hope Chest. Now you can do this even while the search is continuing to run. So it's not like you're closing it down if you open the Hope Chest and look at it. I will open Hope Chest, and because I've got folders, yours would be all right here in the inbox, and they would just continue to accumulate run after run for you. And so it'd be important for you to go ahead and process them and empty them as you go, rather than let them accumulate over time. I will go to my Peter Kivet here, and here's the other advantage that I have having a paid version. The paid version lets me change parameters. I can go to the settings and I can change the date limit of what it'll portray, and I can have it show me orange temples as well as green temples. I could have it show me record hints or data problems, all sorts of things. And so you'll notice that I have both the orange temples and the green temples checked. So when it went and did the run, it found me people that need ordinances but don't have enough information. And so these are kind of fun. What I do with each one of these is I will then go and look at their person page and interview them and try to turn them into a green temple. But what yours will do is they won't show you these orange temples, and they will come up in this way with green temples. And don't you like the way that it's portrayed? You get to see exactly what ordinance is needed, what ordinance has been done in these dark gray ones, and what ordinances could be done if you had more information. So these people don't have enough information about their parents or their spouse to have that ordinance performed. And this person's the same way. They have enough information to get their basic ordinances, but their parents aren't listed or their spouse isn't listed. Let's just take a look at this person real quick. I'm not going to do a full interview, but if I go to Ernest Wesley York, I just come over here and I click his orange icon, and it'll open up his person page. At this point, I've got 4 record hints for him and 6 sources. So you can see that I'm going to be able to take him to the temple pretty easily. This is interesting because he just got qualified to go to the temple, 16 October 1908. He hasn't been, I wouldn't have been able to take him very long ago. And now I have enough information to be able to go. As I quickly look at it, everything's looking really good. But you can see how I'm not sure why I don't have the ability to take him. I can take him to the temple, sealing him to his parents. I don't know why that marked that way in the on the Hope Chest, but at any rate, I can't seal him to his wife because his wife was born in 1910, so I have to wait until then. So I would go back and I would add these record hints, and I would then have 10 sources, and I would have hopefully a marriage event that I'd be able to put in there, perhaps a few more kids, but otherwise I'm pretty well ready to take him to the temple. There's no duplicates, and so this is going to be a quick and easy one for me to bring to the temple. I would say one other thing about using the Hope Chest: it hides behind the screen. So let me get rid of this, it's right back here, back behind everything. And so if you're wanting to go back to the Hope Chest, you just need to slide down your screen with Family Search on it, and it'll be here. And the reason I mention this is because once you have gone through and taken somebody to the temple, if I had requested Ernest's ordinances and had interviewed him completely, then what I would want to do is check this box, come up here and click the trash can. And then when I click the trash can, it says, do you want to delete that individual? And I would say, okay. And then he would be gone from my list. This is important because Hope Chest doesn't keep itself updated. And so if you run a run and then a year later come back and look at that, a lot of people may have already gone and requested the people, and your Hope Chest will have become dated, and you'll be going into different people's views. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if the reason that this showed no sealing to parent available is because between the time I ran this Hope Chest a month or so ago and the time that we're looking at it right now, somebody has added in those parents. I'm not sure. But at any rate, that should give you a pretty good feel for how to use both the Descendancy View and Hope Chest to find relatives. I will remind you again to always interview them before you take them to the temple. It will increase your joy, your expertise, and it will also make for the temple work to be correct and meaningful, both for you and for your ancestor.